Hey, beginning clarinetists, here are a few short videos to recap what you learned today. So the first thing I'd like to show you is how to set up your mouthpiece with your ligature and reed, as well as your barrel. We're actually going to go out in a different order than I just named them. So in your case, when you open it, and remember to always open it with the cymbal facing up, you have all kinds of parts in there. We're not going to use all of them right away. You probably will have your mouthpiece and ligature and cap all set up like this. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that. There we go. So they'll be set up like that in the case. So just pop your cap off and take your ligature, pop that off. You might need to loosen it and just set that aside. We're going to need that in a minute. And then you have your barrel with nothing on it, a little bit of cork here. And it might need cork grease if it doesn't go together easily. That little thing that looks like chapstick, just put a little bit of that grease on the cork to help things slide together. And then this is the barrel. So the mouthpiece and the barrel go together and they are a tight fit. And if you twist them, they just go right together. You don't have to be super careful. There's no keys or anything to bend. There is a loose and a narrow end. The barrel has kind of a wider end and a narrow end. So the wide end just doesn't work. So narrow end. There we go. I like to straighten things up and let the cymbals all face the same direction, but that's just me. So we have this set together. Now we're going to take a reed out of your case. And remember that reeds are fragile. So very carefully place the reed on your tongue. And you're going to wet it for about 30 seconds to a minute. You don't want to suck on it because it'll change the shape of the reed. So just very gently place it in your mouth to wet it. And I know they're kind of gross in the beginning. They don't taste good when they're new. So while the reed is in your mouth, this ligature, have this kind of handy. I always put it on my pinky, but you can just keep it nearby. Then take your wet reed, and there is a flat side to your mouthpiece. It's called the facing. And there's a flat side to your reed with the brand stamped on the back. The part that's rounded has that shiny bark on the outside, and the reed is sort of carved out from there. So you want to take the flat side and line it up with the flat side of your mouthpiece and just place it there. You'll need to hold it there with your thumb. All right, and I try not to touch the tip ever. It's very fragile, so I always use my finger, this part here, to move it back and forth. And once I have it lined up and it follows the shape of the mouthpiece really well, then I take the ligature and very carefully slide that over. So the whole assembly is really held together by the ligature. So it looks like that. Mine's a little off center. Let me center it. You'll know if the ligature is upside down because it won't go down very far. It would look like this and not want to go down. And that's because there's a taper to the mouthpiece and there's also a matching taper to your ligature. All right, so I'm going to push it down. We want the ligature to be roughly like where the slope ends right here, no higher than that, and not too low either. And you have 2 screws. I have 1. So now you're going to tighten your screws. I'll tighten my 1. And then there's a line in the middle of the ligature, almost like a crack, and it goes in the middle of the reed. So the screws should be on your right once you tighten them. And then the whole thing is ready to play. We're ready to make our duck noises. So that's the next video. Hang on.